What's going on, guys? This video is focused on the bot lane for BLG versus BFX, Ezreal Nami versus Jinx Karma. We're going to learn a few things about this and how these teams approach their lane, and really honestly just how both sides, I mean, for one, how Ezreal Karma gets ahead, and then how Jinx Karma get it back. So from the start, you know, these guys are in lane first, which is always obnoxious, so they're going to walk with a wave, right? They assume that they're going to hug on this side to avoid any poke from here, so Ezreal starts here to land a Q from the start, which is great. Like, it might not seem a lot, but like losing 100 HP for the start is pretty considerable. So now, the Nami sits here. She does not sit to, you know, do any autos. She's just looking to get chip damage and dip. So she gets damage on Karma and heals. Great. This next phase, this is where it's going to ruin them. Literally, they're going to lose within just a few brief seconds. They have full control. He needs the dip, right? He throws his Q out, misses, walks back in just briefly, gets the MS, gets an auto, and lands the Q. Now he's half HP. All of his spots are gone, and this lane's going to be really hard for the beginning at this point. Like, there's not much he's going to be able to do. You're going to notice he's going to accept in a trade against Nami as well, the Karma. Right? Give it a second. Here, right? He goes for a trade, but again, if you keep in mind, you know, the Nami is doing what? 60 damage, but then heals 50, right? His Q does 70. So if he's just doing 70 damage, this guy's only taking 30 damage, and you're still taking like the 50, 60 damage. That is pretty rough. The only saving grace in this entire situation, because if this was how the game played out from here, they're so screwed. Luckily enough, Raptor invades. He doesn't even look to gank bot, by the way. He's like, we're not doing anything here. He invades, messes with the Pantheon, which then pulls the Nami over. And yes, this does stop the Fury from like doing this, which is great. I mean, I guess in the end for the Pantheon, right? It kind of sucks for the Fury. But Ezreal has to E away, you know. I mean, obviously, like, you know, he should just be positioned here or whatever the case is, and just like not have to burn his E, because the E is 70 mana, which is a lot. So you lost mana. They have no control of the wave. The lane is completely back to normal after having a horrendous start, and they take their base. And they have to match base, which means they're going to drop some more CS than the Jinx in this round. So then the Fury invade, save their lives. So now we start this. Diable gets like 2 nice autos on the Ezreal, which feels good. There's both supports are on mid, so it's a 1v1 on bot. 1v1 on bot. You know, he's just holding the wave. Everything's chill. They spot the Karma here, which means now I assume Viper is thinking, oh yeah, we need to go. And Nami's thinking the same thing as well. If he's showing here, and we have a ward here, this is our time to do some damage. Notice the Nami places the E on Ezreal, and this guy actually stays in range. And so what we should see happen is that Ezreal should E on top of Jinx, like now, E to here, throw his Q, and just do the full trade. The Nami will also get her W off, most likely, so it's going to be a really good trade. They don't go for it. I mean, he just throws his W, which, by the way, if you miss it, it's like just 50 mana gone, which kind of sucks, but he throws it, gets nothing. And then, I'm not sure, because in this round, you know, like, they get no damage, and they know Nefuries can either go top side or bot side, right? She can do either or. I don't know if they're thinking that Nefuries gonna, like, go through this, wrap around, and screw with them. And that's why they're giving so much respect. But since they missed that first timer to really punish the Jinx and get her low, now they're back in, like, kind of an awkward situation as the Ezreal Nami. Like, they just kind of lost their ability to punish. And this here, by Kellin, ugh. Like, he throws his Mantra Q, right? His Q in 6. Looks to do a trade. You know, Nami has no W. I think this is fine. You know, this guy's pressing up as well to get some autos, which feels great. again, he knows that the Ezreal Q is down. So you're going to notice a lot that Diable does play around the Ezreal Q. And again, if you miss the Ezreal Q, you can trade. Like, for sure you can trade. This is another case where, like, yeah, he could actually probably start walking up a little bit if he wanted to look for something. I don't know if they're, like, in agreement on that. I mean, of course, you know, the Aurora is, like, not showing. You know, she dipped. She's going playing for the pink. So I don't know if them seeing this is, like, them saying, like, oh, okay, don't do anything. And so that's why he's positioned this way versus forward. In which case, the Karma should not be doing what she's doing, but she does. She goes for a Q, gets hit by a bubble, loses half her HP, so that's rough. And then Ezreal does something weird because the Nami used her heal on Ezreal, which, like, typically you never just, like, throw your W if it's gonna do no damage. And I don't know if he thinks that the Karma's also matching base, and that's why he feels confident to E4, but really he shouldn't do this. He goes forward, and he just eats so much damage. The Jinx gets the crash. Jinx is able to hit the plate. Guy gets even lower. Jinx does another wave. He has to stay again. We're back in the same situation where the wave is bouncing out and crashing. So far, as you can note, again, yes, the jungler did help the Jinx Karma. And then Viper got a good punish on the return on Kellin. But then, also at the same time, they missed an opportunity beforehand to really get the Jinx low. And then he inted himself, Viper inted himself into Diable, thinking that, oh, Karma's matching base. So that kind of screwed him over. And now we're back, I said, we're back in the same situation with the waves bouncing. He's looking to do trades, you know, that's not like that big of an issue what he went for there. The Jinx is now going to start playing with her Q range. You know, she has rank 4 Q. It's quite a bit. This guy gets hit, but she is able to get an auto off. Cool. One auto. Oh. Auto. Missed W. No problem. Mantra Q missed. Not the end of the world. They know that these guys are showing on top side, so, like, they know, like, there's not really an issue for them here. He backs up. I assume that in this case, you know, beforehand they knew exactly, like, where the Panth was. Now he's showing. He went backwards to throw the rocket to get splash damage on the wave. It's not just, like, and he also gets chip damage, right? But, like, the most important thing is that he gets damage on the wave. The damage on the wave, this guy self-heals, so there's no, like, threat there. Gets hit by the Q, gets hit by another Q by Jinx. This guy goes into the worst spot where you can't pivot at all. Gets hit by an auto. Gets hit by... Oh, I thought that would splash on him, actually. Gets hit by more. Gets hit by more. So at this point, the Nami's, like, out of it. Like, they successfully knocked the Nami out of this situation while giving respect to Pantheon. And now, at this point, this is where the next little, like, difference should occur, where Kellin is playing with the Karma, right? Or Kellin is playing with Jinx, right? At this point, he should stay with the Jinx and just see what happens. But because he actually isolates himself, and you even see the Ezreal E coming up, he should be walking forward just to make sure that this guy's not doing anything. Because, yeah, he could try to trade onto the Karma, but if he does that, the Karma's going to Mantra W. So he shouldn't feel afraid to do anything here, the Karma. But because he separates, that is why Viper goes in. So he's actually able to get, like, some decent damage down. Like, seriously, like, that was really good by them to get that little pocket of damage down just off what Kellin did. But despite that, you know, they still can't, like, do much on the wave afterwards, right? Now the Pantheon shows, now they're like, okay, I mean, if this guy's down here, we're just gonna, like, crash the wave and be done with it. And so again, same situation, wave is bouncing out to the Jinx, and the Jinx is in an advantageous situation. Now she has good range, you know, like almost rank 5 Q, right? Used to are, you know, like these guys are messing around. On actually goes too far forward, and Karma sees it, loses his flash. That's rough. No bubble. Q hits. Missed his Q, so now we can actually trade in. Ezreal needs to run. He ease forward, which was just... I do not know what Viper was thinking. This one was pretty awful. And it really sucks because especially in this moment, like, the Pantheon is literally looking to gank bot, right? So as Ezreal, like, you know, I assume he's thinking like, oh, maybe I could bait it, right? Like, I could bait this shit. But if he was gonna do this at all, you know, I'm kind of surprised that he did it like this way versus this way. Either way, I assume he's trying to bait it, which is like very risky. And they go all in, and they actually get a reset, and he's able to get enough damage down, and he gets another kill. And so this game, like I said, I wanted to just go over all these little iterations that are happening and all these small things that these players are doing, because in the end, you can tell how just a few mistakes made can just snowball so quick, and how just even, like I said, the jungler invade completely changes that advantage that these guys got initially, or how usually just stepping up just a little bit before like your teammate is like reading another play, just kind of like being misaligned basically in the bot lane is the worst thing you can do. And for sure, like if I were to grade this, like Viper could have done a lot better in this lane. I think On did a decent job for what this lane was. On did a decent job. I think Kellin kind of got away with more than he should have. And Diable did an outstanding job, to say the least. He was really good.